We're getting a full effect of Chubbs.
And the legend, our best man, Chubbs.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is actually Ryan. Growing up, me and Mark, my nickname was Chubbs. We attempted to give Mark a nickname that turned into Orvie because of his love for cheddar, but that didn't necessarily land. We are twin brothers. I was named after my parents' favorite golden retriever. Mark was named after Mark Twain. Mark, I don't know if I've ever said this to you, but you are my best friend. And honestly, growing up with a twin brother was a wonderful experience. Difficult and annoying, sure, but there were always two of us. I always had someone to play video games or sports or any sort of game we may have made up of just like random nonsense of who's going to win this game. We've gone skydiving, we rode camels through the desert, we got to go on annual trips to the wilderness every year, which ended up small world. Kristen and her family went to the same Wisconsin Dells location where it's like, that's that small talk between those two that always lands, where it's always a game of, how do you get Mark talking? You can let him talk or indulge it, and it always kind of goes. And part of it was that we never were in the same classes. It was always like, he was in like one team, I was on another team, so we didn't necessarily have the same friends, but then they started to merge, where it's kind of that same game of how do you engage your friends, how do you talk smack, how do you make somebody like you, and a lot of that was us bickering. Did we bicker a lot? Yeah, yes we did. And the best way for me to explain that to you guys is a second grade assignment that my mom found when we were trying to figure out how to write our speeches. The assignment is titled Mark and the Awesome Super Sweet Day, March 2nd, 2000. When I woke up, I knew it was going to be an awesome super day because there were no toys on the floor. I rushed down the stairs because it was Christmas. I got everything I had on my list. Toy Story 2 for Nintendo, a watch, a koosh ball. Yes, I said. Mom and Dad were surprised. Then I got French toast sticks and Ryan didn't. I said, ha ha. Then I got dressed. I got to wear my cargo pants. Then it was time to go to my cousin's house. I played pool with them. I won. And anyone wants the opposite half of that, there's a second set that is his worst day. I'm also included in that. But for time's sake, I figured I'd leave it. But honestly, like, as I was reading that, I was like, what a diabolical 8-year-old. All he wants out of his best day is for me to not get French toast. I always made awesome French toast. And like part of that bickering was like our older brother being a catalyst, where it's like, how can one of us make fun of the other to get our older brother to laugh, and then it's a team dynamic, where then you're bickering against two people. And it would kind of switch and rotate, and that kind of comes into play into this next part. Because there was honestly a moment where I definitely knew that it was going to work between Mark and Kristen. They had gone to Vegas, they had gone on a handful of trips, they had a 10-day trip planned for Germany, and they already had Hanny. But we were celebrating our grandma's 90th birthday, and we're
Yeah, Grandma!
But so we're celebrating my grandma's 90th birthday, and we're sitting in the living room. It's me, Mark, Dan, Kristen, and the rest of our family. And I'm notorious for stupid hot takes. I happened to have one that day where I literally said something along the lines of a hamburger technically being a sandwich.
Ah,
and then
Gosh.
like look at each other, and then I see Kristen, and she immediately hops in and calls me dumb, says there's no way you can possibly think that. That doesn't make any sense. Mark looks over and goes, yeah, you're an idiot, that doesn't make any sense. And I knew, and like my response back to her, or my response back to Mark was, oh, now you've got a little sidekick. and part of it honestly made me happy. It's like, one, I know she's not going to let Mark get away with hot takes. But two, that she was comfortable with me. It's like, I can be abrasive. I can say things that I don't fully mean on sarcasm. So the way to combat that is to just call me an idiot. It works pretty well. And part of that was all like her being comfortable with me. And honestly, that meant a lot because Mark is my twin brother. We've grown up together. Everything was the same. We shared birthdays, everything. Where it's like his relationship with his future wife meant a lot to me, and I didn't want to like make that look bad by saying something stupid. Chris and I do have a couple tips for you on your marriage with my brother. Mark is his best person with you, and that is because you get him out of his comfort zone. So continue to travel, try and get him to eat regular food. The second, I guess I might have heard my own words on this one. The second is to keep him fed. You know, it gets weird after midnight. And then three is to love him unconditionally in the same way that I know that he loves me. And on that, we cheers to Mark and Kristen.